Imagine an old rusty kettle, tipped on its side, but instead of water, a living waterfall of succulents spills gracefully onto your porch. Picture broken jugs, weathered crates, and forgotten cans reborn as magical corners that glow with life. In the next few minutes, you'll see how the simplest scraps can turn into stunning, whimsical garden art, transforming your porch into a rustic storybook scene. Welcome to Archon Aesthetic Studio, where trash becomes treasure and gardens become pure magic. Every week, we share new DIY inspirations that turn scraps, bottles, and rustic finds into enchanting outdoor spaces. If you love ideas like this, make sure to subscribe and join our growing garden family. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from today? We'd love to know where our little garden magic is reaching around the world. One, Spilled Pot Illusion, Rusty and Recycled Edition. At first glance, it looks as if time itself has tipped a vessel and poured life upon the earth. A rusty kettle, a broken jug, or even a dented bucket, objects once discarded, suddenly become storytellers of renewal. From their mouths spill rosettes of succulents, tumbling like a living waterfall across the soil, each leaf glistening in the soft touch of daylight. The illusion is playful, yet deeply poetic. Water no longer flows here, but something even more enduring, greenery that thrives with little care, whispering resilience through every curve and cascade. As the succulents trail outward, they blur the line between the ordinary and the magical, transforming neglect into wonder. The old pot becomes more than just a container. It becomes a stage where nature dances freely, turning imperfection into grace. Neighbors will pause, guests will smile, and you yourself may linger a little longer, watching how junk takes on new beauty when paired with imagination. This spilled pot illusion is not merely decoration, it is a metaphor. It tells us that even the forgotten can become the fountain of charm, that beauty often flows from places we least expect. From here, let us step into another corner where succulents whisper new stories, woven into miniature worlds of enchantment. Two, Fairy Garden from Junk Scraps. In a quiet corner, where scraps of wood and bottle caps once lay forgotten, a world of wonder awakens. Succulents, small yet sculptural, stand like enchanted shrubs within a tiny landscape. Twigs bend into doorways, pebbles align into winding paths, and a broken teacup transforms into the roof of a fairy's hidden home. What was once junk becomes the foundation of a storybook realm, alive with color and imagination. This miniature garden whispers softly of childhood dreams, the kind where every stone held a secret, and every branch was a bridge to someplace magical. In the play of light, the succulents seem to glow with their own quiet resilience, reminding us that beauty is not about size, but about perspective. Even the smallest scraps can hold the essence of wonder when placed with intention. Children stop and gaze, adults lean closer, and hearts pause for a moment of delight. A fairy garden made from junk scraps is more than a craft. It is a testament to creativity, an invitation to believe again in hidden magic. And as we move onward, the story of succulents takes yet another form, climbing higher into the sky in rustic frames and walls that turn blank spaces into living art. Three, vertical succulent wall, crates and frames. On a bare wall where silence once lingered, color now climbs like a living tapestry. Old crates, weathered by rain, and picture frames whose glass has long been broken, find new purpose as vessels for succulents. Their roots weave through the wood's cracks, and their rosettes press forward like brushstrokes on nature's canvas. This vertical garden is more than decoration. It is a rebirth of forgotten objects. Each crate whispers of its past, yet now it carries a future blooming in green, burgundy, and jade. The wall breathes, turning emptiness into abundance and blankness into story. Light drapes across the layered leaves, casting gentle shadows that shift with each hour, reminding us that gardens are living clocks marking time through growth. Neighbors passing by will see not just plants, but art. An installation that requires no museum, only imagination. What was once discarded would now hold the elegance of design, crafted not by wealth but by vision. This wall becomes a threshold, a gentle invitation to step closer, to touch life growing from what once was waste. And as the eye rises along this patchwork of succulents, it prepares to wander higher still, toward creations that float freely in the air, swaying gently like whispers of green suspended from the sky. Four, hanging succulent baskets, cans and wire. Above the porch, where the air is gentle and the light lingers, old cans sway like lanterns reborn. Their edges, once sharp with utility, are softened now by cascading streams of green. Strings of pearls, donkey's tail, and delicate vines tumble gracefully, catching the sun as they fall, each leaf a bead of life suspended in motion. What was once refuse, soda cans, bent wire, forgotten scraps, has become a stage for softness. The baskets do not hide their humble origins. Instead, they celebrate them, showing how beauty can hang effortlessly from the most unlikely beginnings. In their height, these creations free the garden from the ground, creating layers that guide the eye upward and outward, weaving rhythm into still air. The gentle sway in the breeze adds a touch of music to the scene, as if the garden itself breathes deeper when lifted into the sky. Neighbors passing by may glance twice, wondering how trash could transform into poetry so weightless and serene. This is no ordinary basket. It is a reminder that imagination can take flight, that even the smallest porch can bloom vertically. And just as the eyes rise, they are ready to discover what rustic treasures await at ground level, tucked neatly in wooden crates that glow with timeless charm. Five, rustic wooden crate displays. Against the softness of greenery, the rugged texture of wood tells its own quiet story. Old crates, weathered and scarred by time, now cradle life within their hollow frames. Succulents nestle in their embrace, spilling gently over the edges as if the wood itself could no longer contain the abundance it holds. Each plank, rough with history, contrasts with the smooth, waxy leaves of jade and echeveria. It is a meeting of endurance, the timber that once bore weight and the plants that thrive with little care. Together they create a rustic tableau, casual yet intentional, whispering that elegance does not always need polish. Sometimes, beauty is found in the cracks and splinters of what has already served another life. Stacked high or scattered low, the crates form layers of rhythm across the garden, guiding the gaze from earth to sky. A passerby might pause, sensing not just arrangement, but narrative, the transformation of utility into charm, of simplicity into grace. Here, succulents do not merely decorate. They soften, they spill, they remind us that age and imperfection can be vessels of wonder. And just beyond these grounded displays, the garden invites us to climb again. This time toward tiered stands where structure and play merge into one living sculpture. Six, tiered plant stands, upcycled wood, metal. In the rhythm of a garden, height becomes harmony. Tiered stands, pieced together from forgotten wood and bent metal, rise like stairways for succulents to ascend. Each level tells a different chapter. On the top, a crown of rosettes. In the middle, cascades of green spilling outward. Below, sturdy jade anchoring the story. These reclaimed stands create not only structure, but music for the eye. The arrangement leads the gaze upward, inviting us to see the garden as a layered composition rather than a flat canvas. The rough planks hold the delicate leaves, and in that contrast lies beauty, strength supporting fragility, age cradling new life. When the sun falls across these tiers, shadows dance in descending patterns, as though the garden itself is breathing in rhythm. The effect is grand, even when the materials are humble. It is proof that elegance can be built from remnants, that design does not require wealth but imagination. Visitors pause, their eyes climbing the stand as if on a journey, discovering new forms at every step. And as the gaze returns to the ground, it finds intimacy again, in bowls and trays where succulents create miniature worlds waiting to be explored. Seven, succulent centerpiece in scrap bowls trays. On the table where stories gather, a humble bowl takes on new life. Once chipped, once cast aside, it now cradles a constellation of succulents. Rosettes rise like tiny mountains, trailing vines spill like rivers, and gravel becomes the desert floor where light lingers long into the evening. This centerpiece is not loud, but it is unforgettable. It speaks in whispers of resilience, of balance, of how broken vessels can still hold beauty. The smooth enamel of the tray contrasts with the rugged textures of leaves and pebbles, a reminder that harmony often blooms from opposites. Guests lean closer, drawn by its detail, finding within it a miniature landscape that seems both vast and intimate. Unlike flowers that fade in days, succulents endure, keeping their charm through seasons, requiring little yet offering much. They sit at the heart of the garden's gathering space, transforming ordinary meals and conversations into something touched by grace. And when eyes lift from this quiet landscape, they find boldness waiting at the porch, succulents rising proudly from tall planters, guarding the entrance like timeless sentinels of green. 8. Tall planters with big succulents, barrels, tires, broken pots. At the threshold of the porch, tall sentinels rise. Barrels once used for storage, pots once fractured, and even tires once abandoned. From their rugged forms emerge bold silhouettes of agave and aloe, their leaves stretching outward like green sculptures carved by time. These improvised pillars frame the entrance with a strength that feels ancient, yet entirely renewed. The rough texture of wood, clay, and rubber tells stories of use and weathering, but now they stand as vessels of dignity. Their imperfections become part of the artistry, their mismatched shapes adding depth instead of flaw. Against them, succulents bloom with steady resilience, softening their stature with life that thrives quietly, asking for little yet giving so much presence. As sunlight pours across their edges, the planters cast long shadows that extend toward the path, guiding every visitor's step as though welcoming them into a sanctuary. What was once scrap has become architecture, living columns that turn any doorway into a stage for nature's drama. In their height lies both majesty and humility, proof that grandeur does not require expense, only imagination. And as we pass by these guardians of green, our eyes follow the rhythm downward, where smaller pots and humble cans line the steps, marking the path with echoes of rustic charm. Nine. Succulent pathway accents, tin cans and terracotta. Step by step, the journey to the porch becomes a quiet procession of green. Along the pathway, humble tin cans and worn terracotta pots stand like lanterns of life, each one brimming with succulents that spill softly over their rims. Their repetition creates rhythm, a gentle guide that leads the eye and the foot forward with grace. The mismatched containers tell stories of their own. A paint-chipped can once filled with soup, a clay pot cracked by years of weather. Yet together, they create cohesion, bound by the living artistry of succulents. The leaves, plump and sculptural, catch sunlight in 100 shades: jade, burgundy, silver green, each accent a brushstroke along the path. By night, a soft glow could trace their line, turning the walkway into a corridor of magic. By day, they stand resilient and low maintenance, always ready to welcome. This is not formality but warmth, not perfection but charm. The beauty lies in their imperfection, in how they transform scrap into order and disorder into invitation. Every path lined this way becomes more than a route. It becomes a story, one that begins with the first step and carries into the heart of the garden. Succulent lanterns and candle holders, recycled tins. As dusk settles, the garden finds its voice in light. Recycled tin cans, once destined for the bin, are reborn as lanterns, punched with tiny constellations that scatter candlelight across the earth. Within their hollow forms, succulents rest, their leaves catching the glow as if holding secrets between flame and foliage. The warmth of fire flickers through patterns of stars carved by simple tools, and suddenly, ordinary metal becomes poetry. The cans do not disguise their past. Dents and scratches remain, but now they are illuminated, their scars turned into starlight. The succulents add life to this glow, grounding the ethereal with green resilience, their silhouettes glowing gently from within. Placed along a pathway, these lanterns guide footsteps with both light and living beauty. Set on a table, they become companions to conversation, quiet guardians of intimacy. They are humble yet magical, ephemeral yet enduring, a union of earth and flame, plant and metal. In this soft radiance, the garden changes character. It no longer only blooms. It glows, it breathes, it invites. And as night deepens, the eye is drawn to forms even more organic, weathered driftwood holding succulents in curves carved by time itself. (11) Succulent driftwood arrangements. From the shorelines where water once sculpted wood, driftwood carries the memory of waves. Its surface, smoothed by time and scarred by tides, now cradles new life. In its crevices, succulents find shelter, tiny rosettes rooted in age, trailing vines softening edges once carved by the sea. Together, they form a tableau where earth and water, past and present, coexist. The contrast is striking, rough wood weathered into pale tones of silver and gray, paired with the vivid greens and reds of succulents that gleam in sunlight. It is as if the plants are whispering into the wood, reviving it with quiet breath. Each leaf adds softness to the hardened grain, every curve of driftwood guiding the eye like a natural sculpture. Placed on a porch table or nestled into a garden corner, these arrangements speak of journeys, how objects travel, transform, and return with new stories to tell. They are living art, not static displays, changing as succulents grow, as light shifts, as seasons turn. In driftwood, beauty is not imposed but discovered. And just beyond its weathered lines, the garden continues to transform, where even bottles once discarded become towers of glass and green. (12) Bottle garden illusions, glass and plastic. Glass that once held only emptiness now brims with green. Plastic once seen as waste becomes a tower of wonder. In the bottle garden illusion, succulents spill forth as if breaking free from captivity, cascading down like streams of jade and silver. The bottles, stacked and tilted, disappear into the story they help tell. One of transformation, of rebirth, of beauty crafted from the overlooked. Sunlight glints on their edges, turning plain glass into prisms that scatter brightness across leaves. The plastic, softened by time and reshaped by imagination, becomes a stage for life rather than a burden to the earth. Each succulent, thriving in these humble vessels, whispers resilience, proving that growth can happen in even the most unlikely of homes. Placed at a porch corner or along a garden path, the effect is whimsical, surprising, unforgettable. Guests lean closer to trace the illusion, marveling at how trash could mimic a living waterfall. It is a trick of the eye, but also of the heart, reminding us that creativity, like nature, wastes nothing. And with this final flourish, the garden story comes full circle. From rusted cans to glowing lanterns, from driftwood to bottles reborn, succulents transform scraps into timeless beauty, one magical corner at a time. From spilled pots that flow like living waterfalls to fairy gardens born from broken scraps, we've seen how succulents can make even the smallest corners unforgettable. Remember, every piece of junk can be the beginning of beauty if you see it with imagination. If this video sparked ideas for your own porch or garden, let us know your favorite part in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, because more trash to treasure garden magic is coming your way every week. Until next time, keep creating beauty, one scrap at a time.